honestly, I didn't understand why I was the way I was, but I feel like I would have told myself what I would tell myself now. I feel like actually I was quite self-aware at quite a young age, and I was unapologetic in a lot of ways. I always fought for what I believed in. So if I reflect on now knowing and going, yeah, I get it, I don't know if I would act any differently. I think I would actually be quite similar to how I was. I've always been the exact same person.
Yeah.
So the message is just keep being yourself.
I think so.
This.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not perfect and I'm not a thing, but I think, if you're true to yourself, then.
What happens when you stop chasing results and start following what you truly love? Today's guest shows us that when you lean into your strengths and back yourself, the path ahead can unfold in unexpected and exciting ways.
Our guest is Elleni Pearce, director and founder of Lenzo, the creative events and activations agency known for its bold style and flair. After studying commerce and media, Elleni launched her career at ACP magazines, where she spent more than a decade honing her craft before taking a leap of faith. After her second child, she built Lenzo from the ground up, first as an events marketplace and content hub, and now as one of the most recognised agencies of its kind. Her school days were shaped by both champions and challengers. From the intimidating but inspiring Mrs. Blood, what a name, who pushed her to new heights, and the nurturing Mrs. Reynolds, a drama teacher who modelled kindness and creativity. These experiences taught Elleni the power of knowing yourself and embracing different ways of learning and leading.
In this conversation, Elleni shares why results don't define us, how she's learnt to measure success through happiness, passion, and people who surround her, and why letting young people follow their dream is the surest way for them to thrive. She also opens up about playing to your strengths, backing yourself when others doubt you, and building a culture where creativity and courage come first. Welcome to this episode of More Than a Score.
I have been wondering actually, do you just always, do you now, with the way your brain works with events and things, do you just walk into spaces and you picture what you could do with it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love what I do, so it does just seem to come quite naturally to me. I get quite frustrated. This is actually what start the thing. I get frustrated with clients that sometimes can't see it or don't trust, and you're like, just honestly, this is
what I do. This is my talent. Okay.
It comes naturally.
Okay, Elleni, I'd like to describe you, if you don't mind, based on a little bit of digging that I did with family and friends, and this is how they have described you. Warm, empathetic and genuine. You have a zest for life. You are creatively talented with a mind that is constantly moving and considering. You're an excellent team builder. You've been able to leverage these attributes to build Lenzo, which is a successful events business, and you are also a busy mum of 3. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Laura and Dan. Thanks for having me.
I think we should add in there as well, bit of an influencer, right? Lenzo has worked with some amazing people, incredible, successful companies. Sorry, that's me jumping in.
Thanks, Dan. I don't know.
I'll be your cheerleader.
Thanks.
I'll be your cheerleader.
Thanks,
really
Dan.
Successful.
It's also, I think, pretty overwhelming to hear all of those compliments one after the other to your face. That's a lot. That's a lot to hear, isn't it? How does it make you feel?
A little bit uncomfortable, really. I don't really love compliments. I'm quite, I've actually over time really evolved, I think, as a person. I think I seek less compliments as I get older or more comfortable within my skin. Yeah. It's interesting.
You have a, like it says in there, a warmth. You love making other people feel really special. I'm imagining that's almost I'm sort of assuming the work that you do with Lenzo, right? You love events where people get to feel special and you make it memorable for them.
Yeah, I feel like bringing others joy really fills my cup.
Well, thank you for coming here because the spotlight is on you, which maybe is not where you like to be sitting usually. So I appreciate you being here. Let's start with the question that we always start with, which is, were you happy with your score at the end of school?
Well, I was happy with my score, actually. Essentially, I was always, as a young student, quite a competent student and definitely was always very able to grasp things. And then as I got older, I definitely learnt to either really love and channel certain subjects, and then others honestly, you could tell me a million things and I would completely, it's like going in and out of an ear. So through that process and choosing my subjects for year 12, I feel if I reflect on it, I chose some really great subjects for me and others that probably if I had my time again, I would have absolutely gone in another direction. But at the end of the day, the outcome I was really thrilled with, and I think I got a score of 93.25, which shocked my parents because I wasn't much of a studier. I'm a crammer. And we were, mum was crying. Everyone was crying. We had a party after that. So I was very happy with that.
I'd love to hear about the subjects you chose that you feel served you versus the ones that you feel if you could do it again, what maybe you wouldn't have chosen.
Yeah, it's I can still remember this really clearly. Let's go with maths first. So in about year 9 or 10, when the X's and Y's started, and I just sort of started to phase out of it and I wasn't interested anymore, and it just got beyond me, not to the point where I don't think I couldn't have done it. I know I could. And there was a teacher, Mrs. Blood, who said to my mum, Elleni needs to go through the full maths program. She's cheating herself to not do that. And she, at the time, so I studied high school in South Australia, and at the time there was a subject called business maths. And to be honest, or I don't know if I can say this, it's pretty blunt, but basically business maths was the simple, the basic maths. But what business maths was the everyday, everyday life. It was about the share market. It was about accounting. It was about all of those things, statistics that really actually interest me. So we went back and forth and challenged it. And in the end, Elleni decided, no, I'm going to do the business maths. And she was very disappointed that I wasn't giving more back to maths. But what that actually meant, because I had made that decision, I really loved it. Like, I loved it. I did this project on the share market. My grandpa was involved in shares, and I ended up actually getting a perfect score and going to Government House, and it was amazing. So had I gone down that other path, there was no turning back. And then I also studied drama, biology, history, and geography. Geography, also really passionate about it. I loved my teacher. I was interested, I was invested, I was present, and he was this type of teacher that you could have a little bit of fun with, and I enjoyed that. I'm far from dull in a way. I like to have fun with it.
Good.
And then history also, I was passionate about it. I was interested in wars, and it was something that I could really relate to, not because I had been through a war, but because it was real. It was something that had happened, and I really enjoyed that. And then my biggest challenges were biology. I don't know why. I actually decided to go down the biology path. I loved learning about genetics. I really was passionate about that, learning, and did very well. And then I thought it was going to be all that, and it wasn't. And I had to bring in a tutor because I just wasn't engaged. Again, honestly, it was like something coming in and out. And I didn't get it. I ended up going okay. I think I got a 16 out of 20, but I needed help. And then there was drama. And drama was something that was always something I loved growing up. So, in the school play, we had Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka and all of those things. And we had the most phenomenal teacher in year 11. And we did this play, and honestly, the feedback from this play was, it was just exceptional. And again, it was because the teacher really drove, I think, a lot of the decisions in what type of play we'd like to do, and something we were all passionate about. So I loved it. And then she went on maternity leave, and the old drama teacher came back, and she had a very different approach. We ended up doing this play, Shakespeare, I can still remember it. And it was just a disaster. It was a disaster. And for somebody who always felt like I shone on stage, it was really disappointing. However, in terms of the study aspect and all of the written tests, I did really well, and it ended up getting a 16 also. But they were my two most challenging subjects. It's very long-winded, wasn't it, guys?
That's all right.
But I really remember it. I really remember each and every decision. But absolutely, I would have made some different decisions.
What is interesting to me is you had Miss Blood, and in your response that you sent to us before, you said she was like a formidable character. Like the name meant so much. Like, that's Miss Blood.
Ebba Blood. Yeah. Isn't
that funny? But I'm wondering, like, at that young age, you understood enough about yourself to go, no, this is not the path for me. I think there's so many students that would sit in a meeting like that with a teacher that was perhaps intimidating, and would go, okay, you know best, you know what's right for me, I'll go and do that subject. But you pushed back. What do you think it was about you that you knew that wasn't going to be right for you, even at, 17?
Yeah, probably. Even, 16. I think I just knew, I've always known that I was switched on when I really loved something, and I knew what was offered in that other program. So I just really drove that. And to be honest, I think at the end of the day, Mrs. Blood and I became quite good friends. And she probably also said to me, I was actually wrong. And she was definitely proud of what I had achieved. Yeah. And I felt that. Yeah, I felt that energy from her.
So who were your biggest supporters while you were at school?
My parents, definitely. They were always present. My mum especially at school. And she was, always at the tuck shop, had 4 kids. She just let me be and just celebrated me for who I was. Not the easiest student, to be honest. And I just loved that they didn't try and force certain things. They did teach me a lot, though, about loyalty, follow through with things. They absolutely challenged me, but they just knew who I was and they accepted that. So I love my parents for that.
That already seems to be a bit of a theme coming out, is knowing yourself and trusting yourself quite a bit. Because even at a young age, you knew it sounds like you knew almost how to play the system and play the game to be able to pick subjects that you really enjoyed. You backed yourself to do that. I guess if we're thinking of the listener, what's something that you think really helped you know what you enjoyed doing? I know that might sound really silly, but
it doesn't.
Sometimes people don't always know as much the things that they enjoy the most. What is it that helped you work
Or they
out?
think other people know better than them, right? It's that.
Yeah.
How did you know?
I actually, I know exactly how I knew. I knew because I knew what I didn't like. That was really clear for me. And I've just been diagnosed recently with ADHD, so I've gone through that process and it makes so much bloody sense now. But I knew how off I could be.
Yeah.
So that when I was on, I needed to carry that. But the off was awful.
Is there a checklist of what you didn't like? I'm just thinking of some examples of
I think it was, in a sense, also not only enjoying something, but maybe perhaps when it got to a point where something was too hard, or I just had the inability to, everything was going in and out, it was just not being able to actually do it. So I just ended up choosing things that I felt I was good at or doing well in, I think, because, the maths had got too hard. It was just got beyond me. Yeah, I felt like it was almost the things I decided to progress with were the things I felt I could do well in. And that came easier to me because I enjoyed them.
Yeah, so it felt easy, you felt confident, you thought you had skills, you could see that you were able to do the work or the learning. And it sounds like as well you're actually energised to actually go do it.
Can I just jump in? You made the comment about this diagnosis you've just now gotten.
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to put a lens on your experience now of an element of understanding that perhaps you didn't have at the time. With what you now know, having this diagnosis, what would you have told yourself as a student?
Honestly, I didn't understand why I was the way I was, but I feel like I would have told myself what I would tell myself now. I feel like actually I was quite self-aware at quite a young age, and I was unapologetic in a lot of ways. I was probably was always confident, but probably a little bit more brash. But I always believed in myself, and I always fought for what I believed in. So if I reflect on now knowing and going, I get it, it's just been, I don't know if I would act any differently. I think I would actually be quite similar to how I was. I've never changed. I've always been the exact same person.
Yeah.
So the message is just keep being yourself.
I think so.
This.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not perfect and I'm not a thing, but I think, if you're true to yourself, then you can't really go wrong. You may not be loved by everybody, but you're still you.
Wow, I can't remember who said that. There's a quote that's around, right? Your whole purpose in life is to find out who you truly are. We'll fact check afterwards, Laura. But there's something about that I do. It sounds like you've sort of been aware of that
From a young age, yeah. I think I was. I think I always knew who I was. I've always been consistent to who I am, but really had an understanding of what I was. I knew I crammed. I knew I did these things. I knew I was disruptive. I knew I was naughty. It's okay. Like, it will be okay. Yeah. As long as you're kind.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. It's a nice, if it's all right, Laura, it's a
Please
nice
take
segue.
it away,
I
Dan.
feel like because...
He's waiting to jump in.
No, it's just, it sounds like it was so successful for you. Like, so you were aware of things that you enjoyed, you wanted to dig further into, and then as a result, you had this really successful experience that was also sort of positively surprising, but you're also like, oh yeah, this sort of makes sense because I'm doing what I love. I'm gonna move a little bit for like after school.
Yeah.
Because thinking then, so you took that really positive experience, you went off and you studied your Bachelor of Commerce and Management Marketing, and then you moved into a postgraduate certificate, and you obviously did so well in that you got identified and got a job from that program. Was it with ACP Magazine? Quite a big deal. Like, they're a really big publishing group.
It's pretty exciting coming from Adelaide and getting that. Working for Clio and Cosmo and Harper's Bazaar. That was exciting coming from Adelaide.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. And also, like, when we were reading about this, I was also thinking it's also really affirming to have someone say, we think that you've got this talent, this thing that we'd love to bring you into. And then you worked there for 11, 12 years. So I can only imagine the amount of knowledge, skills, understanding you just sort of added to all your toolkit, which then led you to start Lenzo. A really, and I hope I don't make you uncomfortable, like a really successful company, business that's really highly regarded. I'm saying this now and she's blushing slightly, so I apologise
and cringing
for
a
this.
little.
And I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but it's a slightly different question. What did you have to fail on or fail through that's actually helped you be so successful?
It's a good question. Let me just think, Dan. Sorry.
While you're thinking, the reason
I'm gonna
why...
think.
No, keep thinking because
there's obviously a lot of failures along
Well,
the
just
journey.
learnings,
Like,
isn't
even
there?
so many learnings.
Or maybe rather
There
than a
was-
failure, like things that didn't quite go the way you expected, or perhaps were a course correction where there are opportunities for you to go, oh, I was going to go this way, but now I'm going this way, rather than necessarily it being a failure, maybe.
Yeah, and even if I reflect on what direction I did go in with the commerce, and because honestly after school I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had no idea, and again, being from Adelaide, there weren't really that many opportunities in the creative space. Like, it was quite, it was very much Melbourne, Sydney, always. Like, you remember in the magazines, there was a promotion. Well, you wouldn't know because you were from here, but you couldn't enter it if you're from Adelaide. If you're from Adelaide, yeah. So Adelaide was just not on anyone's radar at the time. But even the commerce, like my first 3 years at uni, my first year in particular, I failed miserably. I had been spoon-fed my whole life. I'd been to the same school. I finally had to actually just do the things. And in that first year of commerce, you're doing all of these, for me, very mundane subjects, macro, microeconomics. I don't know why I didn't like that. I sort of do like it. I'm not sure. Anyway, again, in and out. I was going in and out. I wasn't interested. It wasn't until the second and third year where you could sort of go down that marketing and management path that I started becoming more passionate about it. And then getting into the magazines, yes, but it was in the advertising and sales space. And honestly, if I had my time again, and if I go back and reflect, I really feel like that was awesome. I love sales, but at the same time, I feel like I probably should have gone down more of an advertising agency path to actually grasp that creativity a little bit more, because, there was more ability to be creative rather than just that sales. And Lenzo, I really enjoyed when I started Lenzo, I was understanding what the publishers were doing at the magazines in terms of that content creation and creating content and creating things that people wanted and people wanted to see. And that's what gave me this huge amount of creative outlet. I just loved it because I was finally able to actually be creative. To be honest, when I left ACP magazines, I could have done a cartwheel in an agency naked and no one would even look. Because it's true.
It's quite the image.
Was dead. It was absolutely dead. And the publishers, they were like, magazines aren't dead. I'm like, yes, they are. You have to evolve. And it got to the point where, I wasn't really interested in it anymore. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you absolutely did.
You definitely did. Because listening to that, this is me trying to see if I was listening correctly too, so you failed in that like first year. You've struggled.
I did.
But you persisted, and then there's this piece
Mum and
under
Dad,
there
we finished.
around.
Yeah.
You also, like, a learning was you could see that you really enjoyed creative aspects. So I think the thing I want to know more about is when you say the creative skills that you brought when you started Lenzo. Talk me through a key moment that first pops in your head where you were being creative. Like, what does that look like and mean?
So as part of the role at ACP Magazine's work in the advertising, my favourite part was when a client would come to you and ask you for a strategy and a campaign strategy, rather than just say, hey, we've got this ad that's going to go on the Australian Women's Weekly. Can we buy 6 months at this? Boring, boring for me. So the strategy part of the process was my favourite from the beginning, from concept to completion, and having to think about the story and how it all works and having a cohesive approach across all of the different assets and arms. And that's something that I took with me with Lenzo. And I understood then from a strategic perspective how to sell to clients, but then that creative piece of actually bringing together the content creation of what people will want to see and share and get excited about. That was what I loved. So at Lenzo, we started as an events marketplace, and we had suppliers. It was like eBay or Gumtree for parties and events. And we had suppliers that had, a furniture business or a styling business or a cake business that all went onto the website. And then we basically, as an extra incentive for these clients, we then used to style their products in these certain shoots. And then they'd get tagged on the marketplace, shop the look, they get tagged on the marketplace. And what happened and how it actually evolved is that brands started coming to us and saying, the first brand being Pandora, and they said, hey, can you do this for our event? And I was like, no, we create content. And then I was like, Elleni, you're just stupid saying no. I mean, this is actually what you love doing is setting up these things and coming up with a story. And an event is just a story like anything else. But now working with clients, we actually do take that step back, and we love it when clients come to us from the beginning to make sure it's not just, I hate it when they say, oh, we've got this event, we want to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no. What else are you doing with your campaign? Let's make it cohesive. Let's tell a story. Let's make it make sense. What happened? What content are you going to get? So, yeah.
There's so many
questions I want to ask you, Elleni, from that.
So with the skills in that, so story is a really big part of the way that you work. I guess it's when even as you're talking out loud now and sharing this story, what are the key skills that have helped you continue to be so successful with this? So it sounds like storytelling, but also like even the ability to listen and work out what it is someone actually wants. But what are your key skills that have helped you be so successful?
I think the first is, like you said, listening, but having an open mind. So just absorbing everything and actually understanding what the objective is, I think is so important. Why are we doing this? Who are we targeting? Like just all of those simple questions, and really understanding to ask the right questions. To actually, do a reverse brief always and make sure you're asking those questions.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
So that means when a client comes to you with a brief, they'll say, we've got this campaign that we're doing. We'd like to do a launch event for shampoo X. We're having this many people and this. And it's like, okay, great. What else do I need to know to then come back to you with the best possible response, which is going to give you the outcome that you actually want? So then we take that information, and from there, anything that is missing, we'll then come back and say, before we respond, we need these things. These are the missing ingredients for us to come back to you with the best outcome.
Which I imagine really sets you up for success then, right? Because you're delivering exactly what it is that they want.
I think so, yeah, I do. And we're all aligned from the beginning. And I think that's really important. I also think being passionate is something that, is ultimately going to lead you to success, and actually wanting to share in the highs of, your clients and enjoy that story. I know that's been really hard for me recently, just juggling life. It's like trying to work out where do you put all of your energy, because there's only so much energy you have with kids and everything else. And I feel like also being able to forgive yourself and be okay with not giving it all at every point. I feel like for me, and I don't know if this is the ADHD thing, but I almost go hyper focus on one aspect of my life and then I'll go, okay, it's all kids like this week, and then I'll go, okay, it's work. And I just feel like, yes, you can do it all. You can only give the all, not to everything at all times.
Yeah, like prioritising, like getting better at prioritising, working out where you put your
and being
time
okay
and
with it, and just saying, okay, this week I'm out. I've really got to focus on the work and feel passionate, and then get that burst of energy again. And honestly, moving here and being on the Mornington Peninsula, that's been challenging, of not being in the office all the time. And I have found myself sort of in and out of passion. I'm really passionate right now about it, so that's good. Yeah.
So what's something you might do that could circumvent that for you, that where you still feel like, even though you're not bursting with the passion at that moment, how can you still make sure your business is running through that kind of passionate lens? Is that part of the team building that you're doing? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, we've got an amazing team, like at Lenzo. So Alyssa has pretty much been with me since 6 months into the business and started.
And the business has been
home in
10 plus years now,
Yeah,
right?
10 plus years, or 11 years, I think, this year. And she's still there to this day, and she's an amazing leader, and just honestly, her knowledge over the years. Actually, we should do an interview with her. TR score always blows my mind. She'd hate it for saying this. But I'm like, how is the most resourceful person I know? Get that TR. She's so clever.
You're welcome to come on anytime
Yes,
you want,
Alyssa.
Alyssa,
This is officially the pitch. We want you here.
We have that conversation a lot.
But are you suggesting that the TR doesn't reflect how capable she is? Is that what you're saying? Because we're more than a score, Elleni.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the key thing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And just having that ongoing team, they keep me young too. You know, they're passionate, very talented, and want to be there. And that, that in itself is just, you're 90% there if they too are invested. So yes, I'm really lucky to have that. And I apologise a lot to them, but we go through waves, and right now, we've got some incredible projects happening, and for that reason, I'm just so engaged and passionate. So, yeah.
You just made the comment that your team is happy to be there. That doesn't happen by accident. How do you cultivate a space that people want to show up to?
Honestly, I think I could be better at it, because I'm not there all the time, and I feel very guilty all the time. Like you feel guilty. But I think it's about being understanding, nurturing, being a real person, being reasonable, being able to listen, having fun along the way too, not taking ourselves too seriously, and also striving for the best results. Like, we really do want the best for our clients, and we're really proud of what we do. So I think they too are proud of what they've achieved. It's pretty incredible, the things that they're doing, and I'm really proud of them. So
I'd also hazard a guess too, Elleni, that number of hours doesn't always equal like a great feeling place. Like, I imagine, and knowing, like, getting to know you, I reckon an hour with you is probably worth many more other hours than you might get with other people too, right? Like, the quality of the time together versus just being in an office in a space for 8 hours doesn't necessarily guarantee it feeling really great, right? It sounds like you create just naturally with the way that you engage with people.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I drive them a bit crazy sometimes, to be honest. But we all have a giggle, like, I know. But yeah, I think I've learned, and this is only recently, actually, Dan, it's a really good point. And I read this somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but it really is about the output. Like, the hours sometimes, if the output's not there, it's pointless. I remember working, like 8 till 2 a.m. in those early days, and like, for what? I just think you've got to really pinpoint what it is that you're trying to achieve. And so I feel like I'm probably a lot more productive than I was early on.
That might be the superpower of the ADHD as well, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The new medication. No, I'm joking. I didn't take it today. I haven't been taking it that much, to be honest. I've just accepted that that's who I am.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You've been talking about being passionate, and I think so. Like, for the key listener that's sitting there right now and they have a student or a child in high school, what if their child doesn't know the subjects they're really interested in, or maybe hasn't yet discovered the passion? Like, what are some tips that helped you get clear on what it was that you really enjoyed that can maybe help them help their kids?
I feel like it's about looking at the person as a whole and what they're doing outside of school. What are they passionate about outside of school? And maybe there is a path there that might connect them to what it is they should be doing. You know, if they love sport, looking down that path of how am I going to be involved in sport? If I love music, how can I be involved in music? So I think about looking outside and then working from within. And I do believe too, if you are capable of something, then you will ultimately enjoy it and succeed. So I think also looking at if they are struggling to work out what it is they want to do, having a look at how they're performing already and continuing on that path ultimately will lead to success. Not to say the TR matters, because I don't believe it does.
It sounds very much, there's this quote I've read about, it's something like, if you're really good at tennis but you're not great at maths, most parents would hire a maths tutor. But there's a really good opportunity to hire a tennis coach. It sounds very much like that it's like, rather than focusing on the things that perhaps aren't for you and then it, you know, eventually won't be part of your life, or you'll outsource it potentially. Support the things that you're passionate about, that you're good at, that you're talented with.
Definitely, like utilising those things that you really enjoy and applying them to that path, really.
Yeah.
So, Lucy, my second, for years she's actually changed her mind now. She says she just wants to be rich, but she's so funny.
She's about the output.
She's so funny. She is.
Right.
And
Can I get there quick?
If she puts her mind to something, she will be.
There's many ways to
she
do
will
it.
manifest. I'm really big into manifesting as well. But she used to say for years, I want to be a hairdresser. I want to be a hairdresser. Oh, like, great, Luce. Like, do whatever. And she's quite a really bright kid. And I'm like, go and be goddamn Vidal Sassoon. Go do what you want to do, because you'll love it and you'll succeed.
Yeah.
I just want them to be happy. I just think at the end of the day, if you're happy, you'll succeed.
So do you see part of your role then? So I'm just thinking is choosing to spot the things that your kids are showing interest in, but also setting them up to find new interests too. So they just start to discover what it is that they're interested in, the things that they're good at. And then you trust that they'll then start to find their way?
Absolutely. Like, it sounds so goddamn shallow, but it is. So when I started at ACP Magazines, I was so passionate because I've always loved clothes, magazines, truly girl stuff, honestly. I've always had a natural flair for styling and putting things together, because I look so fabulous today, don't I, Dad? No,
obviously, yeah.
Obviously.
I wasn't sure when to comment on this.
Yeah, but that whole magazine thing, I was so excited about it because it was the things I freaking loved. And I look at my kids and I think about those things, like, go and do PR and be into that stuff. And if you love, social media, not that they do, but go and do things that are going to bring you happiness. I really don't think anything is out of the realm, and I feel like anyone can do anything. They've just got to be able to put themselves out there and actually do it. Like, actually do it. Don't talk about it. I can't stand people that talk about shit. Can't stand it. Just do it.
Yeah. And you were saying before though, you can do anything, but you can't do it all at once. Like, that's what you've also realised too. It's like you have to take some paths and take some steps and work hard to get that to happen.
There's definitely compromise along the way in other aspects of your life. Right now for me, probably, or not so much, it's really busy at the moment, but it was for a while, like, work was having to take a back seat of just fanging it around and trying to get the kids to where they need to do. And Drew's also working a job in Melbourne and travelling a lot. So
Drew's your husband, just to clarify for the
he's
listener that may not know you, Elleni.
But yeah, you've just got to be okay with that, and then you can reset and put the foot on the accelerator and those other things.
And then the kids are also seeing you guys go through compromise and managing and modelling that too. I'm imagining, like, that's another great thing. I'm just thinking again for the listeners, so they can see if people are modelling how they're thinking, how they're approaching. That helps their kids start to slowly learn that too.
100%, yeah. They're seeing a lot of give and take for sure. So a lot of negotiation.
There was something that jumped out. So the thing that I'm hearing is there's like creativity, there's passion, there's this thing about trusting and knowing yourself. When we sent off our lovely form to get some info from you, one of the things that jumped out was the word support. And there was a piece where you said the supports that you were lucky enough to get was you had some mentors. You recommended about having like mentors around you. So I was really interested. Like, for me, I've got 3 daughters, if I'm starting to look at like who could be some great mentors for them over their life beyond just our family, what is it that you would recommend for some great mentors to try and bring into their life?
What do you look for?
Somebody that's like-minded, obviously. Someone that you look up to. Someone that you deem as a successful and happy person, and someone that you would aspire to be, I think, is really important. And more than anything, just being a good person at the end of the day, like somebody that you feel is not bullshit, like we told you, is just a genuinely a nice person. I think that's sort of the number one. And it sounds so bland and boring, but
No.
I don't think it does. And it's funny, but you said like-minded, and that probably wouldn't have been at the top of my list. So it's interesting how sometimes you don't think about those things. You don't think about someone who is like-minded. You think about someone that maybe you deem as the path you want them to take. But it's like, no, actually, are they like-minded with your child, not you, right?
I think so. I think if they've got the same, down to the core, that they've got the same belief system, I think that's a really good place to start.
So how did a like-minded mentor, like, think of that? Like, what was it about the like-minded mentor? How did they help you?
I think belief in me, letting me fall, but also achieve, and just being accessible and being always open in communication, and just having a relationship. Sometimes you can have a relationship with somebody well beyond your years, but you just get each other. And I think it should just flow. I'm all about flow. Like, just if something flows, and it's like anybody you meet in a room and you meet someone you're like, it's easy, then that's the type of mentor I think you want. Someone you feel really comfortable with, that you can be yourself. And
And they're not your mum or dad, right?
Correct.
Like, it's purposely removed. You know,
Yes,
there's a little bit of, so
absolutely.
they can let you fall. I love that idea of letting them fall, and then also letting you achieve and being there.
I think you have to fail to grow, for sure.
It just sounded to me that when you mentioned that about letting you fall, it felt like falling but feeling supported to fall, right?
Definitely.
That's a really lovely thing, it sounds like, from your mentor.
Yeah, feeling like it's absolutely okay, and being there to exactly the support, to pick up the pieces and to say, well, we could have done this differently. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about success, and I really want to circle back to a story that I want you to tell me about. You did mention before that you were, I'm going to put this in air quotes so people can't see, naughty or disruptive, and there was some consequence that you mentioned to me about a suspension. Tell me about that. Tell me about how that sort of came about.
Yeah. So over the years, I went to the same school my whole life. And in a sense, Mum would hate me, she's going to listen to this, I did feel a little bit suppressed in a lot of ways. Like, I'm a very extroverted person, and seeing out my girls thrive in the community, I really wish I'd had some different, I don't know, being able to play club netball, or, you know, being part of a school. There was just sort of one community for me, and that was the school community. Everything was through the school. And it was quite a small school, a girls' school, and it was very insular. And to be honest, obviously at the time, didn't know I had ADHD, but it makes so much sense now. And from the moment I was there, I was always, do you know my maiden name? Elleni Pearce. Like, I was bad. Like, I used to have a lot of fun with my friends. We were disruptive. We had a great time. We were kind. But anyway, I always felt like it was always Elleni. And I did take a lot of the blame a lot of the time. You know, I had friends around me that we were all doing the same thing, but because I was Elleni took a lot of the hits. And essentially in year 12, this is terrible, but essentially we had a common room, and the parents must have had a parents and friends thing, and we thought, hey, it's year 12, let's have a party. And we took a couple of bottles of champagne and we took it up to the common room and we had a party.
Right.
And then
sneakily. She was already on the planning.
Planning.
Did you organise it? Were you the planner?
Well,
Spotting an interest.
I've got to say, oh yes. And look, this time around, yes, but there were others with me.
Yeah.
There were absolutely others with me.
Yeah.
Got caught. And anyway, we ended up, getting found out, and rightly so. People had dobbed us in. That's fine. And essentially I took the hit for it. Wow. I could have been expelled, I think. You know, it was probably worthy of something to that extent. And it was right before Swap Fact. I think it was like the last day of the year, and that's why we had this party. And the principal at the time, she Essentially, my punishment was I was to sit with the principal for 2 weeks, literally, and study for that 2 weeks of swap back. And everybody else, I couldn't even go to the bloody tuck shop. Best thing to happen to me for my TR. I reckon it got me 2 or 3 more points. It's like happy days. So I didn't give her enough credit. But anyway, so yes. But I was always, Elleni,
Had that label.
Exactly. And I've got my 25-year school reunion next Friday. And I'm still good friends.
Are you going to take champagne?
Oh, yeah, I'll have a lot of champagne. But still friends with my friends now. And still have those friendships and we'll have a laugh about it. But yeah.
Did that stick with you in any way? That, Elleni, that,
A little bit.
Okay. What was the impact of that?
I'm not really sure how to answer that, but definitely a lot more as I got older, a lot more self-aware. I think self-awareness. I think, as I said, I have calmed down as I've got older. And I think it's from that, I don't want to use the word bashing, but that certain, Elleni. Yeah. So I have sort of been able to, calm myself a little bit more as I've got older. I'm probably not as full-on as I was early.
It's really interesting though, because the label of Elleni, who is putting herself out there and making change, that's literally what you do for a business now. Like, you're putting yourself out there, you're creating these different experiences, you're doing things. So it's like you're also taking that thing and you're like, this is a really great part of who you are.
Yeah, and it's like, and you're looking at something that felt stale, felt like, it's like you sort of were an innovator quite early and people just didn't quite see it.
I also got a suspension. Are you ready for this one? Or not suspension, detention. I had a detention every
Here
Friday.
we go. This is the Elleni Diaries.
This is a good one. For, wait for it, a petition at the school. I loved the Crows. I loved AFL. We did a petition around the school about girls playing AFL. And guess what? Elleni got a detention for it. Yep. Isn't that unbelievable?
Wow. Really, what an innovator.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
was.
I'm saying,
I really was passionate about a lot of things. I had an opinion, for sure.
So how could the school system have served you better then?
They needed to be more open-minded.
We talk in my family about you've got a voice, so it's your job to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see where they needed to get to. You could see the vision of what's ahead.
Really clearly.
No,
But
really clearly.
Not everyone can, Elleni. Like, I find that, as you said, like this thing that feels so natural to you. Like, I imagine that when people come with a brief, they're like, I want you to create this for me, and you've got a vision straight away. Like, that's something about you, sounds like you've had from the beginning.
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's just something that's always felt really, like, how we talked about something, you just felt really natural and easy. Yeah. I don't really have to think about it. I can see it. Creatively, technically, I'm horrible. I'm technically not a creative person. I'm not great at art. I'm not a great drawer. But if you said put a palette together, put colour palette together, and how do you, it's all in my mind. So that I can see, like, clear as day, and almost can forecast things beyond them before they become a trend. I'm like, how did that happen? But I don't know. I'm not sure. It's always been something that's been with me. But technically, no, horrible at art.
So did you not have yourself labelled as a creative person at school then because you weren't doing the creative subjects? Did you not see yourself as creative then, or you did?
I saw myself creatively to an extent, but because a lot of it was about being technically creative, and I'm sort of having this challenge with my girls as well. They're absolutely really quite creative, but it's that technical versus how you think. And I think too much emphasis is on the technical at an early age versus the ability to foresee or see trends or see colours or see things in a way with, the way everything is enhanced, I think makes it more easy for those people that have got all of the ideas but then never knew how to put it on paper. Now with technology, and that's where Lenzo grew too. It grew on that social media platform because of that understanding of what was next or the next trend before
creating
it was a trend.
All the dots you can see, all the possibilities, and you connect things that maybe others aren't seeing.
Yeah, and people were like inspired by, those things, and that's how that sort of grew and evolved. Yeah, just that came very easily.
You're really creative. You're at this really exciting phase now. You're also doing the juggle. So what's another skill, or what's a thing that you're currently trying to learn or get better at?
Something I haven't been great at and something I really want to work through is networking, to be honest. And it's something that I see a lot of success stories within my industry and with the advertising industry, which is related to my industry, of course. You know, there's a lot of success through shake of hands and that stuff, and that's something I'm not that great at, and I'd rather just prove my worth through our work. However, I do know that to take the business to the next level, I have to get better at that and put myself out of the comfort zone. And not necessarily be a wanker, but I just need to put myself out there.
Yep.
Yeah, because I shy away from a lot of that stuff. I just feel like it's not a priority for me to go out and do that. I'd rather be home with my kids, to be really brutally honest, but I do need to probably have more of a presence back in Melbourne and do that. So yeah, it's something I am working on.
Thank you, Elleni, for such a wonderful chat. And we went all the places.
We did.
We did. But thank you so much for sharing and being so honest and vulnerable and inspiring. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's a pleasure.
Yes, that's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Well, there's a path for everyone.
But it just looks different. You know? Sometimes you dance in physiology and you become a teacher, right?
That's right. Yeah.
If you're determined, it doesn't matter. So I'm a firm believer that
I'm recording,
the TR just does not matter. It is completely irrelevant. I wish I knew that back when I was studying, because there was an element of pressure for sure, like that cramming. Although I wouldn't take it back, and I'm proud that I finished, but at the end of the day, does it matter? No. Once you get that first job, nobody ever asks you again. And there's a path for everything and everyone. You just got to find your path and you'll find a way.
It's just a means to the next step. That's all it really is. It's just a key to open a door. Not every door, but a door.
And you know what else is so fascinating about it? That is only that first step in your life. It's only that first or that little 5-year period of high school. It's such a small fraction of your life. And that yet, you don't,
I think high school is such a formative time though, because that 5 years, if I think about 5 years that I was at university versus the 5 years I was at high school, it felt like I was at high school for so much longer, but it was the same amount of time. So I think it's just that time in your life that feels it's so developmental that it feels like it's so big.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel the same way about school. It felt like it went on forever. Yeah. You blink your eyes and you're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Get it?
Yeah, sure did.
That was good.
Thanks, Elleni.